What's up, everyone? Drafting some more Vintage Cube today. So, I've been talking a little bit so far about how I've been trying to play more proactive decks, more like monocolor decks. I think those are really at an advantage in the Cube these days. So, there's a few options in this pack. I think there are two good blue cards, actually. I like Reanimate a lot too. And there's a Scalding Tarn that would also be a good pick. Not really sure which way to go here. Yeah, this one is kind of comes up to your play style, I would say, but I'll just take the Preordain. It's gonna go in more decks than Venser, and it keeps me open. I don't like taking Reanimate like first pick. I would rather get it like third or fourth pick after I see Reanimator is open. So now this pack has no blue cards that I can take this early. There are two really good red cards, Lightning Bolt and Ragavan. I haven't played with Ragavan a ton so far, but it definitely feels like one of the most powerful turn one plays you can make in the cube. And there's also Mind Twist. This card is really strong. It combos with stuff like Dark Ritual and Black Lotus. And I think I'm happy enough to take the Mind Twist. I just passed the Scalding Tarn. That's maybe like a tiny consideration of why I don't want to take Ragavan. So now, again, not really any blue cards. Force of Negation is fine, but I don't want to take it this early. Green looks a little open with Craterhoof Behemoth still here, Griselbrand. This is kind of a good signal to see, even though it's still only third pick, but Griselbrand is one of the best Reanimator targets. The new Archon 8-drop that they printed, that one's also really good in different situations, but Griselbrand is always like number one. So when you see this card, you know that there's a pretty good chance Reanimator's open. So I'm going to just go that route. I already have the Mind Twist, which is good in Reanimator. Now I'm seeing Watery Grave, which is really important in Reanimator, because usually you are heavy black, but you want to play a few blue cards too. The fixing is really important in that deck. Unis Prowler, I don't really even want to play this card in most of my Reanimator decks. It's pretty average. And then Narset is like quite good, but kind of like I mentioned, it's really hard to go like 50-50 split blue and black in Reanimator. I find those decks are not the best versions. So even though I really like Narset, and picking it up early lets you try to pick up the Time Twister and other combos, but yeah, I think just take the Watery Grave. So blue-black actually looks open. Now there's Baleful Strix, Glenelendra, Archmage, Murderous Rider. Yeah, these are some solid blue-black cards. I think the pick is just between Baleful Strix and the Archmage. And basically, Strix is better against the creature decks. Archmage is better against the combo decks and the control decks. This is a tough pick. Honestly, I don't know which one is better. I'll just take the cheaper card. I'm not sure if this deck usually has more problems against aggro or control or combo. I will have access to counter spells and discard spells. I think the deck, if it's a good version, it has game against every archetype. So now I can take 5-mana Liliana or Necromancy. Both are solid in the deck. Liliana is kind of the more powerful, slower card. It's going to be better against the control decks and the grindy matchups. And then Necromancy is more of like the combo, like all-in card. I've seen both be good. And I'm just gonna, I think the safe pick is to take Liliana this early. It's not like Necromancy is one of the absolute best reanimate spells to get. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be like more of a control deck that might have a Reanimator element, or if I'm going to be all in on Reanimator. And now this is another tough pick because Liliana the Veil and Hymn to Turok are both good. I think Liliana has to be better. It's better in the late game, and it helps with being a discard outlet, of course. him, it's kind of hard to use him to its fullest potential. You want to be aggressive when you're focusing that much on discard. The Wasteland is probably not going to make it in this deck just because of the mana troubles I already mentioned. And I like both of these black cards, actually. The Scavenger is solid against the creature decks. And I think Living Death is usually a little too slow and kind of unreliable. You don't have that much control over what's in your opponent's graveyard. And yeah, it's a super fun card, but yeah, I don't really play it that often. Now, this is the pack that I first opened, and the Venser is still here, which is really surprising. The only other blue card that was in the pack. Very surprising. Ludovic, I have not actually played this in the cube yet. It has Incidental Mill. It strikes me as it's going to be really good against the creature decks, and even pretty solid in the control matchups. It's pretty interesting. Bone Shards is also just really good. I'm going to take the Ludovic. I want to test it out. If I didn't take this, I would have taken the Bone Shards. It's really good in this deck because it can kill Planeswalkers, and it's a discard outlet, and a lot of the times this black deck doesn't care about like discarding an extra land in the late game. A lot of times this deck can function off of 3 lands or 4 lands. So this is an easy Night's Whisper, and it looks like Storm is kind of open with the Brain Freeze tabling. And now I'll take Elesh Norn. I don't usually try to play that card. I'll take the Prowler. It's possible I could need to play it. And tabling Murderous Rider, that's a really good sign. Yeah, Elesh Norn I think is a little bit weak in the Reanimator deck. It's legendary, so Karakas answers it, and Massacre Worm is basically just much better than Elesh Norn, and you can hardcast Massacre Worm, so I don't really play Elesh Norn unless it's the perfect matchup, like mono green if I'm desperate. But I have no reanimate spells at the moment. I just have the Liliana Death's Majesty, but this deck is looking really good. I'm already super strong against creature decks. I have Baleful Strix, Ludovic can block, Murderous Rider as a removal spell, Liliana of the Veil. This is really strong against creature decks right now. And I have the Mind Twist too, which is going to be good against the slower matchups. So in this pack, there's not many spells that I would want. Smuggler's Copter would be really good in this deck, but usually this deck does not have a lot of creatures to crew it. So this, I'll just take Polluted Delta, and now my mana is actually starting off really solid, which is pretty rare. So I'm happy about that. Here's some good Planeswalkers in blue, but I don't imagine I'll be able to splash them, but that's okay. We don't really need those. I love playing Tinker as well, super fun card, and I've tried to play it in Reanimator sometimes and go like half Reanimator, half Tinker, but it generally, I've just found that not to be good. It just stretches both of your kind of ideas too thin. So I think I could take Muldrifter or Vampiric Tutor. Vampiric Tutor is more of the combo-y card. And I do like Vampiric Tutor in these decks. It can get the Entomb or the Reanimate spell that you need, and it's worth the card disadvantage. So these blue spells, not going to be great for me. Here's a black fetch that can get the Watery Grave. Wishclaw Talisman, I don't usually play in Reanimator. And then Rotting Regisaur, this is, I would say it's a little bit better in the all-in Reanimator deck, just because it's a great threat that they're going to need to answer. It's better in the more aggressive style of the deck. My deck is looking fairly controlling. So I'll just solidify the mana, and now I could maybe even play a double blue spell if I get like a counter spell or Jace the Mind Sculptor. Still looking for Entomb. If I don't end up getting Entomb, I might not even play this Vampiric Tutor. It might end up being too weak. If I don't have some really strong single cards that I want out of my deck, move this Preordain. So that's what I'm looking for, is really some strong combo cards. Maybe a little bit more discard too, because I don't want to be in the place where I'm just have a bunch of creature control cards, because that's only going to work in like half of the matchups. So I don't usually like Karn in this deck because I don't have supporting artifacts. I do have Baleful Strix. That's one that makes the constructs better, but I think that card's a little weak. Here's another black fetch. And then there are some blue cards that are hard to cast. Hullbreaker Horror. I've not tried to reanimate that one yet, but seems kind of mediocre. I could technically cast it. Cryptic Command is amazing, but this is not the mana base for it. Seagate Stormcaller is pretty mediocre with the spells I have so far. So I think, again, I'm just going to take the land. So here's Bazaar of Baghdad. Now we're kind of halfway through the draft. It looks like I'm not a Bazaar of Baghdad deck. It looks like I'm going to be more of a blue-black control deck, possibly with Reanimator side thing. So I'm looking at, there's two cards that are good against creatures here again. Power Word Kill and Control Magic. So they're fairly similar spells. I'm just going to take the removal spell that makes my mana better. Now there's a Badlands, and I have 3 fetch lands that can get it. I think I already passed the Kolaghan's Command. There's a few red cards that you would want to splash in this sort of deck. I already passed the Dak Faden, but there's like Daretti that I could end up getting and I would play. And my blue is like a very light splash at the moment. So I could take that, or there's also Makeshift Mannequin, a pretty weak Reanimator spell, or there's Inquisition, which would be, I would really like to have Inquisition in this deck. So this is a fairly interesting spot. I think I take the Inquisition, and now I'll have 2 discard spells, and I'll be pretty happy about that. I want some, basically, this deck's really good against creatures. I want to make it a little bit better against the control and the combo decks, or at least get those cards for my sideboard. And now this is just easy Grave Titan, one of the best black control cards. You can reanimate it, or you can just cast it, and it kills extremely fast. So now Corpse Dance. This is not really the Corpse Dance deck. I found that deck to be a little bit too slow in the last few iterations of the cube, where you try to hold priority, discard an Eldrazi, and then Corpse Dance it. It's a little bit hard to do. But there's Dark Confidant, which I actually like in these decks. It's kind of high variance because obviously I have an 8-drop in my deck right now, but I mean, you just hope to not flip that one. So there's not really much I can play here. I don't really like Unburial Rites because it's so slow. It is a form of slow card advantage, and I could probably easily pick up a white fetch, or sorry, a white dual land that could fetch, but I'll just take the Bayou, kind of similar to the Badlands. This gives me 4 free green sources in this deck, and now I could play like Grist or something if I get that option. And now Hero's Downfall. But yeah, it's just not going to be that valuable to me because I have so many removal options, but I'll put it in the sideboard. It'll be really good if we get matched up against mono white or something. Wow, Control Magic Wield. Yeah, so this was a rare draft where blue is open. I still don't think I want the Bazaar of Baghdad. Okay. So we're still missing a few pieces. We still have no Reanimator, no actual Reanimate spells, and I did open Reanimate in the very first pack 1, pick 1, and it did not table, so it's safe to say there's someone else probably in the all-in version, but I still feel like we have a lot of playables. Here I could take another Planeswalker, Liliana the Last Hope. That's going to be really good against the creature decks. Snapcaster Mage. I have Inquisition, Preordain, Power Word Kill, Night's Whisper, Vampiric Tutor, all pretty good with Snapcaster. So this is kind of interesting. Liliana and Snapcaster both kind of card advantage spells, with the Snapcaster being a little bit more versatile. I'm not considering the Shallow Grave or the Ancestral Vision, although I would like to get some card advantage. So this one, I'm not really sure which is the better card to take. I think it feels like I want the flexibility of Snapcaster. I'm already really good against creature decks. So the Vampiric Tutor is not looking great in the deck so far, so I don't want to pick up Imperial Seal. Karakas, I could definitely play Karakas just as a controlling card. Gonti is a solid card in some matchups, in the grindy matchups. This is not really a Umezawa's Jite style deck. And then Daze, it's not the best Daze deck. This is a close one, but I'm just going to take the Karakas. I think it's possible the Gonti could wheel. I've been wheeling some strong black cards. Maybe the other black player will take the Imperial Seal. So here's Blood Crypt. I have a chance again to take a red duel, but now that we're so late in the draft, probably won't splash red. Demonic Tutor is okay in this deck. Just gets whatever spell you need. It's not like it's getting me a great combo or anything, but I still think it's good enough to take. So there's Recurring Nightmare, which works okay. I have 8 creatures. Doesn't work great in the deck. And then the other options are kind of weak. So like I don't really need Underground Sea. Just don't have that much blue. So I'll take the Recurring Nightmare. It might be good in certain scenarios. Duress would be good to have for my sideboard, or maybe I would main deck it. I think Bitter Blossom is a little bit too slow these days. It's good in rare circumstances. Old Rutstein, I could technically splash this, but I don't think that's going to be good. And then Pack Rat, I actually think it's a little bit slow these days too. So I'm going to just take Duress. I do kind of need some more action, some more finishers. And yeah, just as I say that, I get past Massacre Worm. So that's perfect. This gives me a sweeper, which I currently don't have. But now my deck is really strong against green or other small creature decks. Now I can't really play any of these except Ophiomancer, which is fine. There's another black-green fetch, but yeah, it's or dual. It looks like I won't be able to have any green cards, though, that I want to play. And then Dreadfast Demon, Dreadfeast Demon. I don't think they should have put this in the cube. It's like, it's not a control win condition, and it's not good when you reanimate it. Yeah, I just don't think it's powerful enough for the cube. So I'll just take it though anyways. But yeah, I don't see myself playing it. Shallow Grave. Yeah, we're just really not a Shallow Grave deck. So we're actually a little bit low on playables. I'm taking the black-white duel because the Lingering Souls might table. And now the Gonti did table, so awesome. Bone Shredder, not going to main deck that. Here's the Lingering Souls that I mentioned. I don't know if I really got there on it, though. I have Liliana of the Veil to discard it. I have a couple, maybe ways to mill it into my graveyard, but I think that's it might be a little fancy to take that. If I had an actual fetchable white duel, then I would maybe take it there. I wonder how good Old Rutstein is. Kind of want to take it. I took the Bitter Blossom. I can sideboard that in the really slow blue matchups. So this deck turned out pretty good, I would say. So we ended up with I would say, pretty boring blue-black control deck. It's not too powerful, but it kind of covers all bases with like discard, creature removal, threats. I think it's a solid deck. I'm gonna need to maybe cut this Vampiric Tutor. Might be the worst spell that I have. I'm gonna keep in the Recurring Nightmare. It's just a really good way to go over the top if I reach the late game. Not sure if I can play the Griselbrand. I've got some weak cards in the deck, like Rotting Regisaur, Woe Strider. These don't exactly want to be main decking those. And yeah, this is really not a Rotting Regisaur deck. Yeah. I'm definitely going to cut that. And the cards I could bring in, another removal spell, Hero's Downfall, Scavenger. This is going to be really good if I get matched up against red. Bitter Blossom, that's going to be good in the control matchups. And kind of same thing for Even Death. I think this card's a little bit weak. So really, can I play Vampiric Tutor? I don't think so. There's just not any card I really am going to be desperate to get in a lot of matchups. Maybe if I play against a... Yeah, I just think I want to take it out. Then I'll just keep the Woe Strider, even though it's a mediocre card. I could even play Control Magic, because my mana is decent. So I kind of like doing that instead of putting in Hero's Downfall. Control Magic just has higher upside. There might be a really good creature to steal, and even if I miss on the double blue, I have some discard outlets. It's fine. So now I just need one more card. I think Nighthawk Scavenger is just the best fit over Even Death, and unless I'm playing against a deck with a lot of removal, I might want this one, but I value the lifelink pretty high in these black decks because I have a lot of ways to pay a life in this deck, so if I can gain some of it back, that's really good. Let's play around. Let's see how this goes. Here we are for round 1. We're on the draw. This hand looks really good. It's nice to have Dark Confidant and Griselbrand in hand, just because that really takes a lot of the variance out of the Dark Confidant hits. Even though, not great to have Griselbrand in the starting 7, but I have everything I need. Now we've missed on the Duress. Opponent looks to be playing some sort of Bant deck, and they do have a fast start. So I could start with Baleful Strix. But I think I'm just going to start with Dark Confidant. I don't actually want to block. I don't care to block this turn and like let them play their Eternal Witness perfectly on curve. I will... Maybe I can make them kind of waste their mana this turn. I'm not super desperate about my life total. I already have 2 of my really expensive cards in hand. So yeah, my opponent is going to be forced to just play the Clue this turn. So Liliana is not looking like it's going to be amazing, just because they have Thraben Inspector. So I'm kind of just trying to get up to 6 mana for this Grave Titan. So I'll actually just play the Baleful Strix. There's the Massacre Worm. So now I have basically all of my expensive cards in hand. I'm feeling really good with the Dark Confidant. I probably will block here just because the block is not going to get much better, I would say. And now if they want to use Witness to get back a 2/2, I will be okay with that. Looks like they drew something else. They drew Palace Jailer. Okay. So now they're going to be getting some card advantage. That's not bad. And I don't really have a great play this turn. But actually, I don't mind this play. This Griselbrand is pretty useless. I have 2 6-drops in my hand, so I'm really not going to get to cast this Griselbrand ever. But now I can kind of... I force my opponent to discard a land that they probably don't need. And now next turn I can just use the Liliana, the 5-drop Liliana in my hand, get back the Griselbrand. Okay, so yeah, they are kind of just a green-white beatdown deck. Monastery Mentor. They have not done anything too powerful yet. And they attacked my Liliana. It's down to 1 now. I'm kind of just at the point where I need them to not have removal for this Griselbrand, and I'm not sure if I want to plus the Liliana. I don't want to discard my 6-drops. I don't really want to discard the control magic. So yeah, I think I just leave it. I could draw 7 with the Griselbrand and then plus the Liliana. I feel like that's a little bit risky. I would go down to 8. I think it's actually just fine. This is a little bit risky. If they have removal, then I could be in a difficult situation here. If they have removal, they're going to take out my Griselbrand. They're going to attack me down to 3. But my next turn is just going to be really powerful as the thing. Okay, so Inquisition might not do a lot at this stage. So I think I'll discard that. And then I'll discard a Swamp as well. I just want to leave myself the option. I might want to double spell Ludovic, Gonti. So this is really the turn that matters. If they don't have removal, I'm probably going to win the game. I know they have Monastery Mentor in hand. They discarded this Forest, so they have Monastery Mentor, Eternal Witness, 2 unknown cards. And then at the end of their turn, they're going to draw this Containment Priest, which they can flash in. Treasure Cruise. Okay. So I thought if they... No, I don't get to see the cards that they drew. Okay, it looks like they do not have Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares. So I'm going to get to take back the Monarch. And then I'm going to get Dark Confidant back. I'm going to go to 15 life. Just trying to decide. I probably want to play one of my 6-drops here. Maybe I'll start by milling 2 cards and see what I hit. It's not going to matter too much. Then maybe I'll Liliana and see what they discard. Now at this point, I think the card I don't need is Ludovic. Yeah, if I Massacre Worm, I can take out 2 of their creatures, but I think I want to wait on that because it can get better. They can play Monastery Mentor and maybe get a 1/1 Monk off of it, and then I might even be able to win the game next turn. So this seems good enough to just Grave Titan, and now they're not really going to be able to attack me. Yeah, they just conceded. Okay, we'll go to the next game. So this is a pretty standard like creature matchup, and my deck's already set up really well against that. I could bring in another removal spell. I have these ones in my sideboard. Yeah, we did whiff on this Duress in this game, and I really didn't see any non-creature spells, so the non-creature spells they have might be cheap, like a Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares. So yeah, I guess I'll take out the Duress. They might have some Planeswalkers, we'll see. They're going to be on the play, so yeah, I would like something that I can play that's cheap, but I don't really have anything except Bitter Blossom. Yeah, I think just taking the Hero's Downfall will probably be the best course of action. They have some they're playing a tokens deck, basically. They have the new white-green legendary that creates a token, and they have Monastery Mentor, so yeah. Massacre Worm is really important in this matchup. I could bring in Vampiric Tutor, actually, in order to get Massacre Worm. Just because it's so good in the matchup. So yeah, that may have been an oversight. Opponent is on 7 cards. I think I have to mulligan. This hand is just really slow. Now I'll be forced to keep this one. It's slightly better than the other hand, so that's okay. There's the Massacre Worm. Have I seen their blue cards yet? I'm not sure if I have. Wow, so they didn't play anything on 3. I mean, maybe they have counter spells. That's kind of wild. I did not expect that. Is there like an instant speed creature? Not really. I think I want to get Liliana down while they only have 1 creature, so I'll play it into a counter. I'm not... Yeah, they just have Remand. That's fine. I'm just going to go for the best spell. I'm not going to play around too much. Okay, same situation. Now they have 4 mana up, and I'm just going to make the same play. So it looks like they might have some double green cards in their hand, maybe Courser of Kruphix, and then maybe Palace Jailer. That's another card that they can't play yet, so that's another reason for me to use Liliana here. Okay, they have Containment Priest. That one kind of makes sense. So that's going to get my Liliana, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, I'm expecting them to have maybe some double green cards in hand and some reactive cards. Lyra, okay, so that's... Control Magic is really good against that. But I currently don't have the second blue, so we'll see if we can get there. I could Woe Strider and try to scry into the second blue. Or I can Nighthawk Scavenger, and then if they don't have removal, that's going to help me not to lose the race against their Flying Lifelinker. I think Woe Strider is a slightly better play. If they have removal, then this is the better play. If they don't have removal, the Scavenger might have been slightly better. But I really want to draw a second blue. I feel like Control Magic is really good against them. They might not have any way to stop it. Okay, so it looks like they don't have removal. Night's Whisper. That will put me to 7. That's fine. Put it on top. They have all their mana open, 3 cards in hand. Okay, pretty interesting. I can Mind Twist and take all of their cards. And then I will be dead to Lyra next turn. No, I'll have Scavenger to chump block. This is pretty interesting. It has to be double green cards in hand. It could be Eternal Witness and Courser of Kruphix and a land. I feel like if they had Palace Jailer, they would have played it last turn, so I'm going to go with the Scavenger. Now I have this in play, and now I can Mind Twist next turn and make its power bigger, possibly. I can draw Karakas as well. That's an answer to Lyra. Gideon, okay. That's going to make both of my creatures attack. Okay, I drew removal for Lyra. this is kind of interesting. I could also remove Gideon. That will pump my Scavenger. I'm going to Mind Twist. And see what I hit. Nature's Claim, Flicker Wisp. Interesting. Okay, so what are my options now? Hero's Downfall on Lyra. Attack both at Gideon. Then I die. Okay, so I actually don't really have an option. Dead to removal here. Yeah. Good game. So we did see a Planeswalker and a Nature's Claim. Why did they bring in Nature's Claim? Karakas is really good. They have Elesh Norn and Lyra. I'm feeling really good about my deck. That hand just didn't work out. Might have to take out the control magic because they have Nature's Claim. So I think I'm going to do that. And then Bitter Blossom might just be... I like Bitter Blossom, but I don't want to pay the life for it. So it might just have to be Bone Shredder. My deck just has slightly too much life loss with the Night's Whisper, and yeah, I don't feel comfortable putting in Bitter Blossom. Interesting hand. I have Demonic Tutor, which can... This hand's a little bit slow. It can eventually get the Gristlebrand down. Wow. I guess I keep a Demonic Tutor for Liliana of the Veil. And then I discard Gristlebrand. It's not that fast. And it's weak against the card they have that prevents me from reanimating. But let's see if there's something better I can get with Demonic Tutor. I don't think there is. Just given what I have in my hand. I need a discard outlet. And I really only have the one discard outlet in the deck. Liliana will also put a card in their graveyard for the Scavenger. I like that. Okay, they have Remand up. But that's okay. I'm not worried about that. Okay. They also have the two mana flash creature. But that's okay. I'm not all in on this Gristlebrand. We'll see if they play it. They do have the Containment Priest. Okay. That's all right. They have a slow start so far. They're going to need to put another creature on the battlefield. Okay. I think I want to get down the Scavenger just because it stops both of their creatures. And then I think I do want to plus the Liliana. I want to try to take out some of their resources, stop them from playing some of their 5-drops. My hand right now is not really good against their top end. I don't have removal for like a Lyra or anything, so I want to just try to take out their resources and see if we could play a smaller game. They discarded the useless Nature's Claim, so not too great for me. They have not shown a lot of removal, though. If this Scavenger can stick, that's going to be really good. Flicker Wisp. Okay. Losing the Liliana, that's fine. Okay, they have the Containment Priest Flicker Wisp combo. Okay, that was really good, actually. So I just want to find removal and get the Recurring Nightmare going. There's the removal. Hopefully they can't kill me too fast. Okay, so 3 cards in hand. There's not much I can do here. I just need to remove their Containment Priest. The game's going slow so far, which is good. Yeah, they might, if they have Resto, that would have been bad for me, but they had 4 mana up on my turn. So this is another spot where they missed a land drop last turn, I think. So they might have like Elesh Norn in hand. Tireless Tracker plus land, that's pretty good. Plus a fetch land, so they're getting some card advantage, but okay, yeah, I feel pretty good about this Inquisition play. And yeah, they have Elspeth and Elesh Norn. So yeah, if they get Elspeth down, that's going to be really bad for me. Yeah, they can crack a clue and then draw for the turn. Yeah, I might not be able to beat Elspeth with Griselbrand. I will see. This is pretty interesting. I can put Woe Strider on Tireless Tracker. It seems like they did not draw a land. I think I have to block now. Once they get Elesh Norn down, both of these creatures are going to be gone. So even though this Scry is not that useful for me, because I'm pretty much just locked into getting Griselbrand here, I still think that's what I want to do, preserve my life total. They did have the land, so they're going to Elspeth plus. Elspeth plus, the next turn they can destroy my Griselbrand. Yeah, I'm kind of dead here. Grave Titan. Yeah, this is just a little bit too slow. I don't think there's anything else I can do. Get the Griselbrand. Yeah, this is where having Bone Shards in my deck would be good. I could draw 7 cards, try to hit Bone Shards. Yeah, if they have a land here, I'm just dead on board. Maybe this wasn't the right play. Maybe I was supposed to Gaunty. Yeah, I think I was supposed to Gaunty and try to find a removal spell from their deck. and then draw into Massacre Worm and take out all of their little creatures. But yeah, I was kind of just don't have great options. So this, yeah, it feels a little bit wrong to lose to this deck. I've actually not played against this deck before. They do lose their Tireless Tracker, because this should be a good matchup for me. But I had the hand that played into Containment Priest, and they did have the Containment Priest. So yeah, it just did not work out great for me. I don't really think there's much I can do now, even. There's a land, I can bring back a creature of some sort. I can get the Woe Strider. Treasure Cruise, I don't know. Am I dead on board here? Yeah, I'm just dead on board. So let's go to the next round, and good games. We're here for round 2 on the draw. This hand looks pretty good. We have both of our discard spells. Actually, we still have another one in the deck, but definitely turn 1 Inquisition is good to have. This hand is light on removal. It looks like we're playing against mono green. They have Kozilek and Sundering Titan in hand, so I'm going to take them off of double blue and just take the Signet. Signet and Mystic are pretty similar cards. I'm not too worried about them having an extra 1/1. It's also slightly better if I can like find my Massacre Worm quickly, then I can take out both of these creatures, but probably just important to take them off of the blue mana with the Signet. Okay, they have Sylvan Library, which is pretty strong. They're going to be able to draw a lot of cards. I'm not in a rush to Mind Twist, though, because it's going to be a couple turns before they can use these. Trying to think if I want to tutor for anything, or if I just want to Night's Whisper. I think tutoring has to be better. I don't have anything great to get. I could get Dark Confidant. Maybe even Nighthawk Scavenger. I do eventually want to get Massacre Worm. Yeah, I think it might just be correct to take Massacre Worm. This is a bit of a slow plan, but I already know they have 2 cards in hand that they can't cast for a couple more turns. So if I'm able to Night's Whisper into some more lands and maybe some more removal, I might be able to get to 6 mana before they can start playing 8 drops. It didn't feel great to just Demonic Tutor for a single removal spell there. Kind of a tough call, though. Okay, so they're getting pretty aggressive. They're going down to 10 life. That's another decent reason to take the Massacre Worm. So it looks like they're definitely laying some blue cards in this deck, maybe even a red splash. So now I have the option to Woe Strider or Night's Whisper. It seems Woe Strider is going to use my mana the best. And I would actually like to start pressuring them because of the Sylvan Library. Any damage I can do is going to be valuable this game. They might go a little bit too low, and then I can finish them off with Massacre Worm. Next turn might be the Mind Twist turn. Let's see what happens. Okay, Tovolar's Huntmaster, so pretty strong card, but I'm really happy I have the Massacre Worm. All they need to do is put one more 2/2 into play, and then I can just win the game off of Massacre Worm. I'm pretty happy about that, actually. Now I have Liliana of the Veil. But if I Mind Twist, I can take their whole hand. Yeah, that just has to be good. Just see if I can survive to hit Massacre Worm. It's going to be kind of close. They're going to get to shuffle here because of Kozilek, so that's nice for them because they have 2 cards on top of their library. Gaia's Cradle. Yep, they probably should have put that Cradle into play against a black deck. And I currently don't have a good play for next turn, but I just have to survive this attack step and then the next attack step for the most part. Let's see if they pay life for the library or if they can find some life gain. Garruk. Okay, that might kill me one turn earlier. I'm not going to be able to survive the overrun. Might have some draws that will get me out of this. Let's see. I think I do have to trade the Woe Strider. I have Planeswalker removal in my deck. I can remove one of their 1/1s, then they'll have 9 power. Yeah, that's going to kill me. Yeah, I think I'm dead on board now. Yeah, that's too bad. Just off by 1 turn, kind of. I think I'm happy with the strategy of that game, though, with the Demonic Tutor, and yeah, just kind of a little bit too slow. This deck is missing, like, cheap removal, like Fatal Push, sort of stuff that can take out those 1/1s. That's kind of what this deck is missing, unfortunately. What can I do against the green deck? Hero's Downfall is okay. Bone Shredder is okay. Kind of just like all of my cards. Might want to bring in one more removal spell, though. I take out maybe Ludovic. This is not really the Ludovic matchup. Or maybe a 3-drop. Yeah, I think I should keep that in. The 3-drop slot is really where I have trouble in the deck. So I'll take out the Woe Strider. Yeah, this hand looks pretty good. Have some disruption. And control magic is going to be good later in the game. Definitely I'll start off with the Inquisition. I think it makes sense. Okay, so they have some good cards here, but okay, let's see. Yeah, actually I can take Raphelos, and then next turn I can take Sylvan Library. So let's do it that way. It's more important for me to get the library because it provides so much card advantage, and I'm just trying to kind of one-for-one them here. But yeah, as long as they don't draw Mox, I'll be fine. I do need to find a second blue. I can put both of these swamps on the bottom. Metamorph is going to work on my Scavenger, but that's not going to be the end of the world. Liliana. Yeah, Liliana's just going to be better here. Then they won't be able to use their Metamorph, and the board is clean. So this Liliana should get to survive, and then might be able to just run away with that. Okay, so now I have Snapcaster plus a discard spell, but it might whiff, so that's pretty awkward. I know two of their cards cannot get hit by either of my discard spells. Honestly, maybe I should just pass and just try to use Snapcaster to block the Circle of Dreams Druid, although they can just Metamorph on their own Circle of Dreams Druid. I'm going to plus here. I think Grave Titan, I probably won't get enough lands to use the Grave Titan. Let's see what my opponent discards. They discard the Metamorph. Oh, they discard the Cradle. Okay. This is a pretty interesting spot. I think I'm just going to pass. Put the Nighthawk down. It feels wrong to just use my Snapcaster like that, and they might not even attack. This is kind of tricky, but if I get control magic mana, then I can just steal their Metamorph. Yeah, I'm not completely sure about this play. If they had a 5 or 6 drop in their hand, they may have just tapped the Circle of Dreams Druid to play like a Planeswalker, for example, and then I would have wanted to have the Scavenger in play, so that's kind of the route I went there. Now they still have one card in hand. And my hand is pretty weak, so I suppose I will just make us both discard, and then I think Snapcaster is my worst card here. They did have Upheaval, which was not doing much. And I'll just play Ludovic and pass the turn. Okay, I got Griselbrand into the graveyard. That's solid. I'm just going to wait and just try to hit in Island. Then I can win the game with this Nighthawk Scavengers. I will have to trade if they attack. Maybe I won't have to. I feel like I probably have to. They have access to a bunch of mana now, so the Liliana is actually getting worse. This is pretty interesting, because yeah, I don't really want to trade. Let's say I trade the Nighthawk Scavenger, because the plus on my Liliana is kind of done now. I don't get to plus anymore. My opponent has 0 cards in hand. They're going to be able to play every spell they draw for the most part. So yeah, I think I actually just let the Liliana die. Yeah, and now I'm happy I did that because now I have 2 Nighthawk Scavengers instead of having both of them in the graveyard and then just going into kind of a top deck war, which I'm not necessarily going to win that top deck war. $15, okay. If I draw a land, I can activate my Ludovic. Okay, that's pretty good too. So yeah, that's going to be game. I'm going to have a Griselbrand in play. Let's see if I can mill Massacre Worm, which would be even better, potentially. I'm not even sure if I should put Griselbrand into play. Yeah, I suppose I can. They are playing blue. They have plenty of blue, so they could possibly have control magic of their own, but I don't think it's going to matter. Because I can draw off my Griselbrand and get removal, so that's fine. Okay, we'll go to game 3. The discard worked out well in that game, but now we're going to be on the draw, definitely going to be a bit tougher. This is a pretty standard, kind of like mediocre hand. It doesn't have a 1-mana discard spell, which I would like to have, just because my deck is fairly slow. But I think I have to keep. I have plenty of interaction. Yeah, it's just a standard fair hand, and this is a fair deck. I'm going to want to get a basic island with this Polluted Delta, so that then later I can search with my other fetch lands for the Watery Grave. I think that makes sense. Signet. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to disrupt my opponent. I can get a creature onto the battlefield, though, and this will be good against the Planeswalkers. Could have kept up Power Word Kill, but I think this is better. I'm happy to get Ludovic into play. It is kind of a nice little threat if I can attack a few times and get lucky and get one of my 6 or 8 drops into the graveyard. It's kind of good. My opponent has a slower draw. Pretty interesting. Are they playing Channel? Wow, okay. Probably not going to be able to beat a Channel. I cannot beat an indestructible creature unless I draw Liliana. What else did I see them have? Kozilek. Kozilek is not indestructible. But, I mean, they're going to draw 4 cards. But, I mean, this is not unbeatable. We'll see if they have something else. If they have Sundering Titan, I can destroy both of my lands. Have I seen their blue cards yet? I've seen Upheaval. I'm not sure if they have any counter spells in their deck. These decks usually don't. See what else they're playing. It's possible I should have mulliganed this hand, even though it was kind of a reasonable hand. But being on the draw in Vintage Cube, you need something really good sometimes. So yeah, I probably cannot beat Tovolar's Huntmaster. Grave Titan. I can destroy the Kozilek. And then pass the turn. I'm at 17. Can attack me down to 11. Then on my turn, I can Knight's Whisper into Power Word Kill. Yeah, that can kill werewolves. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty dead, though. They've got 6 cards in hand, and they'll have 5 mana on their turn. I'm just not going to be able to match what's on the board, most likely. Okay, I'll go to 11. Let's see what they play. Yeah, this deck is missing a Toxic Deluge or Damnation. It has the Massacre Worm, which is really good, but it kind of does have to wait till 6 mana to get it into the play for the most part. Golos, okay. It's not gonna like instantly kill me. I mean, yeah. Might be dying a slow death here. Gonna need to draw a land here. Could have played Baleful Strix there, but that would let them have an extra mana off their Gaia's Cradle. They're going to be able to attack, and I'm going to go to 2. And I mean, I imagine they'll be able to put 1 or 2 things on the board this turn. They have 5, 8, 9 mana. Eternal Witness to play Huntmaster again. Okay. I figured they would attack this turn. Seems worth it to me. I don't really think I'm going to have an out here. No, they didn't attack. Well, that seems like a misplay to me, but I can Liliana to take out one of their creatures. But no, Murderous Rider is going to be better. I can Snapcaster Power Word Kill to destroy the Huntmaster. Yeah, I think just Baleful Strix plus the Lifelinker is going to be best. I think I can survive a turn if I get that off. But then, yeah, I still need them to have nothing. If somehow they have nothing, or they just have like some more creatures that don't have haste, then it's possible I can win with Massacre Worm, but no, I still don't have the 6th land in the Massacre Worm. I think I have to cast this. They're at 6. And I survive. I'm at 7. I block the 2 biggest creatures and I take 10. So I die. I can't do that. Pretty close, though. Kind of close to just Demonic Tutoring for Massacre Worm, passing the turn, and then trying to draw land to cast it, but instead I'll have to do this, and I think if they attack me, I go to 1. Maybe they have Upheaval. Raiderhoof will kill me. Pretty much everything kills me. Polukranos, that can take out 2 of my blockers, so it will be able to kill me. Okay, it looks like they figured out the Polukranos line, so I'm going to concede. We're going into round 3 with this deck. We're 0-2, so pretty disappointing, but yeah, definitely not one of the best archetypes, I would say. We're missing a counterspell. 1 or 2 counterspells would have been really nice in this deck. That will give us a whole nother angle to play at. We do have good disruption with the 3 discard spells and the creature removal. So technically we should be able to deal with everything, but we don't have fast mana to like cheat on the Mind Twist, so it's kind of just an average card. And yeah, we're kind of seeing some of the problems with this archetype so far in this draft. But okay, we get to play this time. And no interaction with this hand, but we have all of our mana and turn 2 Confidant. This hand is totally fine. If they remove the Confidant, then our hand is a little bit awkward because we can't play Liliana till 5, and then Recurring Nightmare does nothing right now. But that's okay. Okay, blue-black mirror match. They do remove the Bob, so that's not a great start. Polluted Delta can search out either of my basics, which seems fine. I'll just search out an island now, just to thin my deck. I don't think I have a reason to wait. Okay, I guess they're Esper. Bitter Blossom. That card is okay against us. We do have the Massacre Worm. They'll be good. Okay, there's Demonic Tutor. And we have Demonic plus Snapcaster as well, so this is kind of interesting. But no matter what we do, we're going to have to start with Demonic Tutor. We don't really have a way to do the reanimate thing because we don't have a discard spell. So we might just want to get the Massacre Worm. Honestly, Mind Twist would be pretty good too. I can Mind Twist them for their whole hand next turn. Let's go Mind Twist. This is going to be really good if they make a play to the board. If they make a play to the board, I'll be able to take away the rest of their hand, and then I can Snapcaster Demonic Tutor to hopefully deal with whatever they put on the board. And if they leave up a counterspell here, then I can do something else, maybe. Okay, so they have 4 mana up. They missed a land drop? Yeah, I think so. I could just run my Liliana out, kind of force them to counter it. Or I can just go for the Mind Twist. It's a pretty awkward position. Need to do something, though. I don't want a Snapcaster because I don't know what to get with the Demonic Tutor yet. Could Recurring Nightmare and get Dark Confidant down. I feel like I'll just make them counter the Mind Twist. If they don't counter it, they're probably going to lose the game. It does turn out to be Venser, so I can just do it next turn, but yeah. I wanted to do it this way. If I played the Liliana into a counterspell, then they hit a land drop, they play something else, the Mind Twist is going to get worse at that point. They're going to have 2 or 3 cards left in their hand. So that's what we did. I kind of want to keep the Baleful Strix in play because of the Recurring Nightmare. Oh, they have Fallen Shinobi. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. And they hit 2 really good spells. Yeah, that's rough. I'm probably not going to be able to beat that. Shinobi is a nice card in this archetype. It's kind of like an unfair thing you can do inside of this fair deck. Preordain. Nighthawk Scavenger. Block. I don't think I have like any. Well, Ophiomancer is actually pretty good. Feels like I just have no hope to win this game. But I just have to like play it out anyways, so that's kind of annoying. I technically have 2 blockers now. Opposition. They're just going to attack with everything. I'm just going to concede. I don't want to show them even the Snapcaster or... Yeah, I think I'm just dead. So they're playing black, blue with opposition. Well, I'm going to have to bring in my own Bitter Blossom. It seems pretty solid. And then what could I take out? Probably one of my 3-drops, one of my weaker 3-drop creatures, like I think probably Woestrider. Maybe Eben Death would be good in this matchup, actually, if it gets like grindy in the late game. It's not good against Bitter Blossom or opposition, though, so it's, yeah. Okay, a slow hand, but it does have Night's Whisper to draw me into some action. Seems fine. I do want... Again, this is a matchup where I want to have like Duress in my opening hand so I can take out their Bitter Blossom because I have no way to answer that card. So, yeah, this hand again, this might be just too fair, and it's got a 6-drop and an 8-drop. Yeah, I think this was probably not a good keep. Okay, there's the Duress, and yeah, I'm gonna fire it off. Even though it's not mana efficient. Wow, they have Wrath of God. That's wild. So I have to take the Bitter Blossom. I could take the opposition, but I mean, it kind of just, it seems like Bitter Blossom is the play here. Let's see. I mean, I do have the Massacre Worm, so I could just get rid of the opposition, let them do the whole Bitter Blossom thing, and then just Massacre Worm them out of the game. Kind of like that idea, actually. I'll have to do it when they don't have Hero's Downfall up. This is a tough pick, actually. This is a bit of a gamble, but I'm going to take the opposition. Could be completely insane. Here's the Dark Confidant. That'll probably draw out the hero's downfall. Surprising that they put planes out, and now they don't have hero's downfall end of turn. Let's see if they have the Fallen Shinobi. Vindicate. Okay, so they still have the downfall. Okay, well, I drew Inquisition. Not a Elspeth. Okay, so another way to make 1/1s. Pretty interesting. Might as well get the Crocus down now. Okay, so I have Massacre Worm next turn. It's not going to win the game. This is a pretty interesting spot. That's gone. Through that. Still have one island. I know there are 3 cards in hand. There's the Elspeth. Let's see if they make a 1/1. Or if they +3. Yeah, they're +3ing. That's smart. So they're gonna hit me for 5 here. So yeah, I have to cast Massacre Worm here. We might be a little bit too slow. But this is how I drew it up. We're gonna go to 8. I imagine they Wrath of God now. Yeah, that goes away. 1 land away from Griselbrand. 10. Okay, these don't do much. What can I do with this Ludovic? Can I transform it? Yes, I do have the mana to transform it. I have Massacre Worm, which attacks. I think I just make it into Massacre Worm, or do I just make it into Dark Confidant? Because then I have a really good chance of hitting Griselbrand. My opponent's going to go to 5. Going to attack me down to 6. Then they're going to go to 4. 2. I think I need to actually cast the Griselbrand. I know they don't have removal at the moment. They have an island in their hand. Wow. I think the Massacre Worm doesn't do much. They just chump and just take 2 when the creature dies. I think I do Dark Confidant. Just hope I can hit a land. And then they don't have removal. That's the hope. Could die to my own Dark Confidant, of course. So I kind of need a few things to go right, but I feel like this was better than Massacre Worm. Go to 6. I do need to survive 2 Dark Confidant flips. Got 1 6-drop in my deck. Grave Titan. Played out their island. They have 1 more card. Let's see what it is. Big Elspeth. Creating tokens. Okay. I'm glad I have the Griselbrand. Because Griselbrand... Actually, no, they can destroy Griselbrand with it. Wow. I don't think there's anything I can do. I drew the Grave Titan. Man. Well, I have Baleful Strix. They're at 5. I have to cast Baleful Strix. Liliana. I think I have to Ophiomancer here. I think I still get to live by doing this. But I think I'm pretty much dead. Yeah, couldn't beat the Elspeth. Sun's champion. That's rough. That was another close game. It's just been a lot of close losing games this draft. I don't know what I want to do here. Yeah, I just don't have any way to... Okay, if I draw the Recurring Nightmare, then I can get back Massacre Worm and win the game. So I think I want to put Dark Confidant into my hand because I want to draw Recurring Nightmare, not flip it and die to it. So that is the plan. I think that's probably my only out. Do I have Preordain left in my deck? Land. I can play down Griselbrand. It will die. Ludovic. Okay, they're at 4. Interesting. Wow. Okay, hold on. Do I have enough mana to do this? I think I might actually have it here. Get the Massacre Worm. Attack my opponent for 3. Then they die to Bitter Blossom on their upkeep. So they need to have removal here. Wow. Okay, I was not thinking of that. Yeah, they should have attacked with their soldiers, forced me to block with my snake token. They've actually... Yeah, I had lethal on board, actually, and neither of us realized. Let's see if they actually have something. The triggers are on the stack. Wow, we got there. Somehow I did not realize that I had that. Okay, that was an awesome win. That just shows you the power of Massacre Worm. Amazing card. Okay, just seeing all the Planeswalkers. Did not realize they have all those Planeswalkers in their deck, so... I think I'll have to bring in Hero's Downfall and take out Power Word Kill, I suppose. Leave the rest of these. Liliana of the Veil looks pretty bad against all of their tokens. Maybe I could take that out. Then my Recurring Nightmare just gets, like, kind of bad, though. Even Death is good against the Planeswalkers as well. And it might just be good in general. It's good against counter spells that they might have. Wonder if Control Magic's any good. I don't think I've seen any creatures to get with it yet. I'll just take out the Control Magic. for Even Death, something more proactive. Proactive is better against Planeswalkers. All right, let's see if we can get a win. I would really love to win one match with this deck. Okay, we have Griselbrand, Ludovic, and Liliana of the Veil. I'm going to keep. Again, it's not a great hand. And again, we do draw the Duress, so I will take it. They have 2 removal spells and Fact or Fiction. I'm pretty happy to just take the card advantage spell. I think that makes the most sense. Okay, I think my hand's looking okay against what they have so far. I guess Ludovic's gonna die. No, again, they're gonna Banishing Light? Okay. That is fine. Yeah, this is solid. My Liliana is going to eat this Hero's Downfall, but then on turn 5, I have Liliana Death's Majesty to reanimate the Griselbrand, and they've lost their Solemn, so yeah, currently, from what I've seen, they don't have a way to answer this Griselbrand, and they have no pressure on me, so I will be able to draw 7. So let's see if they have a black. They do have a Scrub land to fetch, and I just assume this Hero's Downfall is happening. Which I kind of hope that they do that, really, because Liliana's not doing much on this board. Okay, there we go. Don't know any more cards in their hand. Let's just see if we can resolve this bigger Liliana. I have not seen a single blue counterspell or mana tithe from them, so I'm just going to play right into it. And yeah, this should be good. I'm at 17. Yeah, I don't really... Let's see if they have a control magic or something like that. Palace Jailer. That's going to exile it. But once I become Monarch, I can get the Griselbrand back. So let's see if I can become the Monarch. I cannot remember how Palace Jailer works, if it has to be on the battlefield. I don't know, it probably doesn't matter, honestly. I have so much card advantage. I have Demonic Tutor. I don't even think I want to use that. 6 mana. I'm definitely going to play Ophiomancer. I think this makes sense. I won't be able to use this later in the game. Riptych and the big Elspeth. Okay, so you're going to get to use the Elspeth, but that's okay. Actually, oh wow. I could have got Mind Twist. Can I still get Mind Twist? It'll only be for 2. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to Demonic Tutor. Massacre Worm. 8 cards in hand. Pass the turn. Discard a Swamp. They kind of can't really do anything now. It's kind of obvious what's going on here. I left 3 mana up with 10 cards in my hand, so kind of obvious I have something, but, you know, what are they going to do? Not play the Elspeth? So they're going to do that. I'll destroy Elspeth. I'll massacre Worm on my turn, become Monarch. See if I get the Gristlebrand back. I honestly cannot remember how that works. I guess I do get it back. Okay, nice. Okay, they have Cryptic Command, so they can tap all of my creatures. So I'm going to force them to tap all the creatures. Now, don't want to deck myself. That's probably the only way I can lose. Let's see, I have 8 mana. Okay, let's do this. I'll Snapcaster, Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist, Mind Twist for 3. This puts them in the position of needing to get a Wrath of God off the top. And I don't know if I really need to use the Liliana. Did take 2 cards out of my library. But yeah, I don't think I can get decked, really. So, okay, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.